Hello, everybody, and welcome to Humanity's Heart. My name's Dr. Robyn Mills, and my intention for today is to engage, energise and expand your heart. I'm excited to introduce my guest to you today. We're miles apart, one in the UK and one in Australia. Sally Ann Saint is the founder of Wise Woman Guide. She's an author, radio host, healer, and guide to women who wish to connect or reconnect with the wisdom inside. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning to you, and it's 10 o'clock at night for me, so we
Good
are
evening.
completely. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you. And what is Wise Woman Guide?
It's something that came to me when I sat very quietly, and it's like the umbrella that covers everything that I do, but also tells you the truth. Every single woman has got that wise woman inside, and my work is to remind women and to support them to go back to that place, because there's absolutely nothing outside of yourself. Everything is inside, and it's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I like phenomenal. Did you have an epiphany or something that led you to do this work?
Yeah, my life path was especially from very young, lots of extreme circumstances, situations. My parents loved me, but they'd been abused as kids. They were both very fear-based, so there were no healthy boundaries in the house. So people came in and out that just weren't safe, and I was bullied at school. And because of that base, my view of like what was normal was hugely distorted, and so I went out into the world and just let people in that just should never been around me. And one of the things was I developed ME when I was 16, which is a myalgia and encephalomyelitis, and it's an illness that completely took me out of school, took me out of everything, and that was a start in a way. I learned that I had to recover myself because doctors couldn't give an out, they couldn't help. There was nothing they could do to help. And that started me on a path of thinking differently, because I had to heal myself. And so I learned about food intolerances. I learned, I also was helped so much by complementary therapies that I then actually trained in the complementary therapies. And then over the years, as I learned, as I grew, as I healed layers, and it is layers. So when life has a various traumas come to you, you have to work through the layers. And when I was working through the layers, I learned so much, because there was that spark inside me. And there was always that spark. No matter what happened in life, no matter what circumstance, there was that spark. And that spark always encouraged me. And then my fantastic son, he's 10. And when I became pregnant with him, everything changed. Because when you've got this unconditional love inside you, it reminds you of your own truth. You know, and when they're born, there's nothing there other than this absolute love. And because of him and the link, it's like everything ramped up. It was like, you change your life because this matters now. There's another little being that's walking beside you. And from there on in, everything really changed. But for me, the Wise Woman Guide is almost it's like a legacy, really, that my mum left me. My mum passed about a year and a half ago, and her life was really traumatic, and she suffered, and even her ending was she suffered, and yet, you know, something, she was a phenomenal woman. And I thought, there's no woman on earth that should end their life like that, and that not even know or allow themselves to expand. She was beautiful, and she lived in fear, you know. And so for me, when I work with women, I see their absolute beauty and their absolute potential, because it is in there. No matter what has happened in life, there is this part of you that is just this untouched, beautiful energy. And I encourage and support people so as they can connect with that, because you can work through the layers when you understand who you really are.
We talk about the Sara Lee cake here. Do you have Sara Lee cakes? The advert for Sara Lee cakes was layer upon layer upon layer. And
no, I haven't in the UK. What I do is the onion. So like the onion, you're peeling off the layers. So that's my thing of it. Because if you did it all at once, if you've been dealing with, if you've had a number of things, then one thing, it may be too much, but also you don't learn. If you do a layer at a time, you're actually learning as you're expanding, and it's that learning that really matters. You're rediscovering you're learning tools which then you can pass on to others, because all of us are family. Whether we've got children or not, we're part of a family, and every time we raise ourselves, we raise others.
That's so true. And a child, when you said about your son, the unconditional love that a child brings into the world can just melt those layers of your heart.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So wait till you become a grandmother. It's even
Yeah. A few years, I hope she's 10. So
because by then, you get to know yourself a lot better, and the unconditional love is easier to get in and out, because
Yeah.
it's just, you can be absolutely present to your grandchildren and see their beauty and their potential and their love, and your heart's even more ready to accept the beautiful gifts that these children bring into the world. So yeah, it's part of the journey that you still have to come, but I can tell you it's sensational.
Awesome. What I love is their eyes as well, when you look into their eyes. And that's the thing with all of us. If we look in the mirror and actually look into our own eyes, we see. If you allow yourself to step away from like the critical mind, or the one that we have, it's only a behavior that we picked up. We're looking for something at fault. You look into your eyes, and your eyes are just phenomenal. They are. They show us the truth and the depth of us. There's reminders every day if we allow ourselves to see them.
That is so true. The eyes are the windows to the soul. They say that, don't they?
They do indeed.
So what I wonder is, how do you help people who, say, are riddled with guilt or blame, or their thinking and their mind blocks them from being able to experience that joy?
I listen, because it's the holding of something. So when you feel really guilty, when you feel at blame, your energy is stuck, because you're going around in this cycle.
Mm.
So if you hold space for somebody and they feel safe with you, they open up, and in that open up and vocalizing, they're just letting the energy flow around it, and they'll feel the difference. So rather than something that's trapped inside, it's suddenly come out, and they've got this feeling of, well, something's softened. And that softening is enough. It's like a river. We can dam our emotions, and whether we perceive they're positive or negative is irrelevant. But if we dam ourselves in, I can't allow myself to feel joy. Even there are people that, and I've lived that path of not allowing joy in as well. You dam something, whereas if you just remove the dam and allow yourself to speak, to acknowledge, it starts flowing again. We are designed to heal, all of us. We have the system that wants to heal itself, to come back to that balance. And if we just allow ourselves to open up, sometimes people are afraid because they perceive, if they open it up, what the hell's going to happen, because I've held this back for so long. It just wants to flow. And for me, I hold space for people, and when they feel safe, they allow themselves to do that. And when you allow yourself to step in, actually it releases far quicker than all those years of holding back.
It's so true. It's so true. The minute you get into flow, I call it getting into flow, everything in your life seems to match whatever it is you're in flow with. And when you're not in flow, things become hard, difficult, blocks arise. You can't even, there's not enough words to describe the difference that it feels when you're absolutely in flow.
No, and to understand that we're creative as beings, we are, especially women, we're hugely creative. You
Yes.
can get creative with every element of your life, including the things that have happened to you. You can get creative with it. The curious mind questioning, is that really my belief? When it's something that's limited, limiting me, is that really what I think? you know and so that is just, it allows pliability. It's like having a brick of, if you've got a brick of a statement, and that I can't do that because I'm not, that's a brick, there's no movement. But if you allow your mind to be more clay like, and you play, is that really me, or is that just something I learned? And it's just you can get creative with every single aspect, and then your energy flows. As women, yes, we give birth, but we create. We everything we do, we love creating.
As women, and I can't speak for men because obviously I'm not a
No,
man.
because I'm yeah.
I should ask my twin brother. As a woman, we creativity is just part of who we are. And to bring creativity in for healing just makes absolute sense.
Yeah. I'm an artist as well, and I used to do healing art, and I still do myself, but I used to teach as well. And it's just allowing yourself just to express without any concern or any of that. It's just flow. And every single time the person would feel the difference. Their energy would increase. They would just, that well-being, our bodies tell us when we're on the right track. You can do it with the most basic of things, but your energy will always tell you. You feel that lift, this is where you're meant to be. Enjoy.
It's so true. It's so true. I love that you calling it that lift, but that joy. When you
Yeah.
actually feel joy and you feel love and you really know what it is. Yeah. And for me, especially at the moment, because I've got a granddaughter due to be born soon, I'm living with another one, and I'm really close to my grandchildren. The joy that you see in their eyes, and the joy when everything's going well for them, and you can see they go into devastation quickly, but they also come out of it quickly. And
Yes.
children know that they can't stay in that, so they get out of it fairly quickly, which is, I think, a lesson for all of us, really, that you can move on. And the more that
Yes.
the more that we've healed, the more then that we're able to help them get, move on quickly and find the joy. So I think the work you do on yourself helps break the cycle for the next generation.
Yeah, and also, children, they don't have the like that critical judgmental mind. So when they hurt themselves or cry, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. When we hurt ourselves, we hold it in. It does have to come out at some stage. But children just really honest. And that's something to be respected. And I learned a hell of a lot when I had my son, because um, very often we get programmed or trained or conditioned to behave in a certain kind of way. And yet, authentically, we have got a myriad of emotions inside us. If we allow ourselves to feel them and express them and not judge them, they just flow. You can get annoyed about something, it's gone. And it's just the judgment that we hold on something, which either holds it back and hides it inside us, or just allows us to express it and be gone. There is no good or bad emotion. There is just something that just needs to flow through. And children teach us all the time about honesty.
It is about that truth, isn't it? About just being who you need to be in that moment.
Yeah. And it goes, they show us. If you just see a child, they're completely happy, and then they'll have a tantrum about something. If they're just allowed to have that tantrum, within 10 minutes, it's gone. It's when we try and contain it that they feel the restriction, and it can last longer, or that they just learn just to start to shut it down. But they have a capacity for self-expression, but also they show us they're out of it. They go in, they're out, back to carry on.
It's great, isn't it? And it is a lesson for us as adults. And, when they're expressing themselves like that, which seems extreme to us, but their whole body's committed to whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
Their whole body, their whole self. They're not holding back. They're just actually expressing everything that they want fully and completely.
Exactly. And it means they can come out of whatever it is afterwards. We get stuck because we hold it in, we deny it. No, I can't feel angry. I can't feel anger. I don't allow myself. We're stuck.
Yeah.
That's suppression. And that's where the suppression comes in, is just holding back that thing where you just let it out, you express, done.
Yes.
It's gone. We then move forward with flow.
Flow is good. I do like that analogy of the river and the dam, and I like sometimes to think about a tube that water's running through, and whether it's running through clear or whether there's blocks along the way. And when
Mm.
it's really running clearly, you can feel it and you know it in every cell in your body, because you can experience the highs, the lows. You know, you can go outside and maybe look at the full moon and think how beautiful it is without
Yeah.
being stuck in whatever thought that you've been running prior to that. I
Yeah,
was,
and
I was wondering, Sally Ann, if you were towards the end of your life and you were looking back, how would your heart say you lived your life?
authentically, because that's where I'm living now. You know, I live the life of suppression, and I still work with myself now because conditioning or programs that you've learned from a long time ago, they'll still rear their head. But for me, it's to be authentic. You know, there's so many things. The pandemic has taught us all so much. What do we value the most? Our family,
Mm.
the people we love. That is everything. Love your, you know, humanity's heart is what you're doing your thing, and nothing could be more timely right now. Everything that's superficial has gone because we realize there is no value in it. What's the value is what's in our hearts and what we share with others, and seeing that love in those that we care for. And you know, if it was your last day on earth, what would you want to be? You'd want to be around the people you love. The rest is very nice, but it's love, nothing
It's
else.
it's that's absolutely beautiful. And in the beginning of the pandemic, we had a run on toilet paper.
Yeah,
But the
same here.
one the one thing that people felt they couldn't live without was toilet paper.
Yeah. It was the same in the UK.
Yeah, I think you got it from us. I think we started it. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't make sense, does it? Because you can use a box of tissues, you know, there are other alternatives, but the fact that this was I don't know where it started even, who started it or how it started. But I think even in that there was a lesson, because when we saw the shelves emptied, we all thought, this is ridiculous. Is this just silly that we're all running to the supermarket? Like, I don't even eat pasta really. So I didn't need to go and buy 20 packets of pasta. And, you know, we had a feeling that the world was going to come to an end and we weren't going to have any food and we weren't going to have toilet paper. But really, we've gained some things. It's been a horrendous experience, but we've gained that deeper love for family, and that when we're held back from not seeing them, and certainly in Australia, we've got off light and easy compared to the rest of the world. Like right now, we don't have any cases. That
Yeah.
is just incredible,
That's
isn't it?
phenomenal. We're completely different in the UK, but do you know, and like it's not to take away from the people that have lost relatives in this as well, because there's,
Mm,
you know, it has been horrific, and because of the restrictions, there's been natural processes that they haven't been able to go through. They haven't been able to be with their relative, or they haven't been able to.
mm,
There hasn't been able to be a funeral. You know, in the UK, we've still got a lot of restrictions, and so you know, post this as well, there's going to have to be a hell of a lot of kindness to support people through this, because actually as you start to step out is when you start to breathe and you realize you've been through something really tough. You know, this is the biggest thing the majority of us is ever going to go through, is this. It's a life-changing experience, and so there needs to be a heck of a lot of kindness and understanding as you step back out, because you're going to feel it. You're going to need to discharge what's happened. It's like the gazelle that got away from the tiger. You know, afterwards they're shaking. Afterwards they survive, but they need to shake it off. And we're going to need to do the same with our systems. We're going to need to shake off what we've been through. So compassion for however you feel after this. You're going to feel fantastic that things are shifting, but you still need to hold space for feeling.
Oh, absolutely. And to be really, you know, the grief that people are going to go through for what they missed that they can't get back, which is funerals, which is holding someone's hand while they pass over. You know, the moments that haven't been able to manifest in this time are things that people are going to naturally grieve for. And perhaps some ceremonies or, you know, a way of helping people do the best they can to replace or to have something that honors the people that passed away or honors the things that you didn't get to do during the pandemic.
Absolutely, because all these things are necessary. My mum passed, it was 3 months before the initial lockdown, and the first one, and like we were able to do everything. So the funeral, there was people come, you have the event afterwards, and all those things actually help you with the letting go. So there needs to be this space held for whatever this person needs, because there will be parts of the grieving that they would have held on to just because they're getting through this pandemic. So afterwards, when things soften, I think it's for people to understand, if you've got somebody that has lost someone, then just they need some space and they need some time and they need some kindness, because it will come when things ease. Your body knows, you're coming out of it.
Yes.
And even for those who haven't lost someone, you could have lost a job, your life could have dramatically changed. Everyone needs to hold space for some grieving, because however it goes back, things have changed, a lot has happened.
Yes, and when you experience change, sometimes you can embrace the change and go, oh, well, I can step into this new. And then some people struggle to accept change. And this will be another journey for people afterwards, because as you say, things will be different. They're never going to be exactly the same as they were pre-pandemic.
No, they won't. And in a lot of ways, it's made, there's a lot of messages to take from this whole thing. And like we just talked about, the value of people you love, but also I have loved nature. I've always loved nature, but actually nature has just ramped up completely for me. And it's just those kind of things that the time to stop and see and to really connect with what was around. It's been one of my greatest nourishing energies, is to connect with the nature that's around me, the birds that sing every day, the flowers, because we're in the UK, we've got flowers coming out now in spring, and those kind of things have just lifted me. And I saw them before, but not at such a level that I understood, that I felt so nourished by it. And so there's those kind of things that will stay with us post this, because that won't be lost.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. And for me, I've been walking on the beach every morning and
Wow.
I haven't slept well. So I'm on the beach at sunrise, and it is the most beautiful thing to see the sunrise over the ocean in the morning, and something that I haven't really had the time or the place to experience in the past. And it's magical. I just want everyone to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and sit on the beach and see the sunrise. It's just magical to see the new day start like that. And the gift that pandemic has given us is the time. Like, we're not running from one thing to another because we're not allowed. And
No.
we're not allowed to be on the beach with 10 people. You're allowed to be on the beach on your own. So it's changed the things that you might normally do, the hundreds of things you might normally do in a morning. So, yeah, there's a lot of love to be needed and a lot of love to be shared for people who are deeply grieving around the world, and for people who don't feel safe. It's important right now to help each other feel as safe as we can be. Would you agree with that, Sally?
Yeah, and the pandemic it's brought fear. If you had anything that was going on before, your fear would only be heightened by it. So there needs to be a lot of compassion and reaching out post this as well, to check in with people how they really are. We are tactile beings. There's been numerous studies on, if we're not hugged and things, what happens to us. Well, we've lost that contact and connection. I'm a hugger, so for me to not see my friends and hug them is, that kind of thing is it's well-being. It's for our well-being. There is a natural instinct to connect, and community is going to be so needed after this, because this is what we're wired for: connection and community, closeness with others. And that's going to be our greatest ally post
Yes.
this, is rekindling that and savoring every moment of being able to hug someone you care about.
Yes. So do you have the elbow touching there?
We have no touching going on. Yeah, we still got a heck of a lot of restrictions going
Yeah.
on. So it's, yeah, and because it's winter, so there's been some easing in the numbers, but it's still the first lockdown was going into summer for us, and we had amazing weather. So we actually, well-being wise, we sort of like came out of that one very easily. But the winter one, because it is winter in the UK, has been really tough, and so you can see the difference on people. Last weekend we had a sunny weekend and people were smiling when we were social distancing walking. You know, people would chat to you. It was, the difference was just the turnaround was like that, just for having that little bit of sun.
Mm.
But it's for, I know in the UK this is going to be a big one coming out of it, because we had the winter, we had the dark nights, we've had the whole thing, and just the numbers ramped up massively because the weather was just for the virus increasing then, you know. So it's been a tough winter for many.
Yeah. Even the smiling with the mask on, like really deliberately smiling with your eyes, perhaps more than you've ever smiled with them before. And I'd pass people and I'd put my hand up to say hello and smile at the same time, so that there was no doubt that I was actually saying good morning to them. And so now taking the mask off, because we don't have to have masks on outside now, and actually smiling and seeing a smile back, you really appreciate the fact that you're smiling at strangers.
Yeah.
People don't really know, because you're just so glad to be alive and you're so glad that you're out there without the mask. And I think you're right about more people engaging um, as you pass them by in the street or as you stand in a queue with them than's ever happened before.
Yeah. The one thing I found quite funny was I've started naturally doing was in the supermarket, you have to, social distancing, and you do have to wear the mask. And what I started doing was just like openly talking to myself, because I thought they can't even see my mouth moving, so it's fine. So I'd just be going around jabbering to myself. So I actually enjoyed that part of
So
that's been one fun thing. I got away with just this whole conversation with me.
oh, that's really funny. I'm wondering what's next for you, Sally. What does your heart, what is next for your heart?
It's holding space for working deeply with women. So I write, and people they will get that connection with what I write, because everything is about sparking inside someone that there's more to life than how they're living, if they're living a restricted life. So it's always to spark up. But for me, I want to hold space and just allow women to really peel through the layers in as gentle a way as possible, but to actually damn well live. You know, look what the pandemic's done. You know, it's, everybody understands the preciousness of life. And so, I work on myself so as what I give can deepen, because it is for me, as many women as possible, to live authentic lives without the restrictions and the suppression that is holding them back. There are so many women right now who have been with the pandemic, have been stuck with violent husbands, or all those situations. They've been held in. These women are going to be screaming for help coming out of this. So for me to be as most effective as possible, so as they can understand who they really are and live from that place.
Oh,
Live.
that's such a beautiful thing that you're able to do, to help women and to be in a position, a privileged position really, to be able to put your arms around women and
Yeah.
to help them find a safe place and then to find the joy. Like, that's such a gift.
And it's also, if you go back, communities decades ago, is what women did, women's circles. They
Yes,
supported each other. It's
yes.
it's part of who we are to do that. It's the most natural thing in the world. And that's the whole thing of going within. You find out your roots, you find out where you come from. We're meant to be holding space for each other.
We are. We
And look
absolutely.
what you're doing. You're doing exactly the same thing.
I want to contribute to the collective human heart, because
Yeah,
at the heartbeat, we're all the same. We beat to
exactly.
the same rhythm. And it doesn't matter whether we're big, small, what colour we are, what race we are, none of that matters. Our hearts all beat as one. And that's where humanity's heart has been born from. That idea that, when we're born, Sally, just within a couple of weeks of life, a cell breaks off and starts to vibrate. And that cell becomes a heart cell, and other cells join the vibration until it forms a heart. It's just absolutely phenomenal that in every pregnancy, that's what happens. A little heart starts to just vibrate, and the vibrate becomes a pulse. We are all the same. Our bodies form the same in utero. And if we can connect with each other from the heart, then we're not going to have those judgments of people. You know, we're just going to see, here's someone that needs a learning. Am I able to help with that? Yeah.
Yeah. And we look for miracles in life without realizing we are one. When you've just talked about the journey of how we come into creation, we're a miracle, every single one of us. And
Yeah.
in here is the judgments, the conditions, the restrictions. I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not ever. In here, it's just pure love. This is the connection. There's none of this. If you're anxious, if you're stressed, put your hand on your heart center. It slows you down. This is our powerhouse because it's pure. It's unconditional love. Nothing there is restricting. Nothing that's happened to you, it holds any weight in here.
Yes.
Nothing. It reminds you of who you are.
Sally, what's been your proudest moment?
Having my son, I think.
Yeah.
And for me it was because I changed the family line when I had him, because I did things differently, and so it's putting my family on a different track. You know, that's been that is, and it will remain mine, because it only takes one person to break a family line. Because if you look at family lines, they'll go back generations, and there's the patterns, there's the conditioning, there's the similar behaviors, and it only takes one person to break it, and you break it for all. You know, the vibration goes forward and back.
That is so true. That is absolutely true. It only takes one person to break a cycle. One person to go, you know what, I don't like this aspect of myself. I need to have a look at it. I need to see where it's come from. How can I change it? How can I release it and let it go? And it takes being open and vulnerable, but willing to change, doesn't it?
Yeah, and to keep on, you know, because of the various things that happened to my life, I went very small because I had to. It's like I always had to protect myself, and yet it just takes that opening out with somebody, and then opening out a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and you understand that there are remarkable people around us, and there are. And yes, there's the other side, the other element too. So you've got your yes and so that's always, someone is at a level where it's not healthy to be around, then you've got your no, that's your boundary. But you let the yeses in, you let the light in, and you just allow yourself to keep on expanding and growing and connecting with others. That's what we're meant to do. We're community. We're like it's almost like the horses, the herd animals, and that's the same. We're meant to be part of this herd that works collectively, and it's that when we lift ourselves up, we lift other people up, and it's a joy to care. It's a joy to care. You care enough about yourself, you care enough about others. Keep on growing, keep on shining, and look for the light in others. When you see that light, you connect with them.
And as you're talking, I'm thinking about the word synergism, where there's some of the parts, what you achieve in the end is greater than anything you'd achieve alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Synergism is such a really good word to explain that. I'm wondering, Sally Ann, who influenced you the most to become who you are?
My
Who
mum,
helped you?
my mum, because I absolutely loved her, but I saw the life that she lived, and because she's passed, I saw the entirety of it. And so for me, when she inspires me still, that if I feel low, if I feel whatever, then I know that with love, I will make a different life. Yeah, it's her.
And how important was forgiveness as part of that?
Huge. And you think it's other people you need to forgive. It's usually it ends up yourself because you feel guilty for whatever. And so there's layers to that. and it's a path, because you need to allow yourself to feel, so whatever it is, and then forgiveness will come. It isn't something that can be forced, and that actually just causes too friction. But as you walk the path of healing, then there does come that point when you forgive. But usually, if it's focused on a person, when you go further, it's about forgiving yourself.
Have you heard of Ho'oponopono?
Yeah,
I love that. I'm sorry,
absolutely.
please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
If I've got guilt coming up about something and I say that over and over again, it really does release it in some way.
Yeah, and in the gentlest of ways as well. That I found the most profound things are the most simple, because our minds have been trained to like make things as complicated as possible. So the way to diffuse them is the simple things. There's the hand on the heart. That's, straight away. Simple things can be the most effective. We just learned to get really complicated with our minds, So
We got too smart for our own good.
we have. Our Google searches end up going in the brain.
Sally-Ann, as we come to towards the end of the interview, I'm wondering if there's something your heart wants to say that I haven't asked you yet.
Do you know, most of my life I searched for things outside of myself to validate myself, to feel that I was worthy, to feel that I was lovable. And to know something, the journey that's the most empowering is when you walk home to your home, your own heart. And that's where there is nothing outside of yourself. If you're looking for something outside of you, I would encourage you just to pause and consider that what you feel is lacking, there is no lack. It's all in there. And when you step inside, you actually are able to give so much more, because you understand who you are. You can't understand the potential of someone else until you know who you are.
Oh, that's beautiful, and it's so true. You have to know yourself first. You have to love yourself first.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you believe about yourself emanates outwards. And I often ask people, what's the heart print that you would like to leave in the world? Because your heart's a vibration, and wherever you are, you're leaving that vibration behind, some essence of that, of yourself, as you walk through life. What's the heart print that you're leaving in the world?
To live fully, embrace, and to truly live. And
Beautiful.
anything that holds you back, question it.
Yeah. That's absolutely beautiful. What a beautiful conversation that we've had today.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for being present so late at night. I really appreciate it.
I'm right underneath the light, because it was a bit dark, wasn't it, when we started talking? So I've got underneath the light so as it looks brighter, but it's just because it's really late in the UK. Now I'm over 21. I love my bed.
I like my bed, and I'm not beyond an afternoon nap either.
Oh, they're the best, aren't they?
They're the best. Thank you, Sally-Ann, for helping women find their truth and for inspiring women everywhere. I hope that our conversation today has engaged, energized, and expanded your heart somehow. Until we meet again, may your heart beat to the rhythm of humanity's heart. Thank you, Sally.
You're welcome. Many blessings.
Bye.